Hi, this is Anthony. We're going to make some Italian bread today. It comes out really good. There's almost no labor involved, and all it takes is a little bit of time to proof and whatnot, but the labor is really quick. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to need a cup that fills up to 2 cups of water. So we're going to use tap water. I'm going to use pretty hot tap water, about 105 to 110 degrees. So just put it on tap water, fill it up to 2 cups. See how good I am? A little bit more. Okay, so 2 cups of water. And I'm going to use 1 packet of active dry yeast. So I'm just going to pour that in there and let that sit for about 5 minutes. And what that's going to do is activate the yeast, and you'll start to see it froth up. So we'll wait a couple of minutes and I'll show you. Okay, so the warm water and yeast has been sitting for about 5 minutes, and you can see it bubbling and getting a little frothy. And what that means is that the yeast is actually activated and is properly working. So let's go over some of the ingredients. We're going to use 4 cups of bread flour. It has a little bit more gluten in it. That's what makes bread flour a little different. This is a 1 teaspoon of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of kosher coarse salt, and 1/4 cup of semolina flour, Durham flour. It's a golden yellow. That's what that is there. It's a 1/4 cup. And 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. So once again, just to go over that, we have 2 cups of warm water with a packet of yeast, 4 cups of bread flour, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 2 tablespoons of granulated salt, kosher salt, 1/4 cup of semolina Durham flour, and 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. So what we're going to do first is we're going to pour this into our mixer. I'm using the KitchenAid mixer with a dough hook on it. So we pour that in, and we'll start with 2 cups of flour. I separated them 2 cups and 2 cups. This way it doesn't get messy. And we'll throw the sugar in right now. Not the salt just yet. Lock it and put it on setting 1. And we'll just let that mix for a few seconds so it can mix it up. Maybe we'll go up to setting 2. Now you always want to have so you got a little yeast in the bottom there. You put about a 1/4 cup in there just to kind of rinse it out, just in case we need it. We may not need it, but make sure it's also warm water. Okay, I'm going to shut it down, unlock it, lift it up, and then I'll put the other 2 cups in there. I'm going to put the semolina flour. I'm going to put the salt in there. So the only thing I haven't put in yet is the oil. Number 2, and just let that mix. I'm going to let that mix about 30 seconds or so. And you'll see you just need to keep checking the consistency of it. And right about now is when I put the oil in. And I just kind of drizzle the oil on the side so it pulls all the flour away from the side. Put about another quarter cup of warm water in. And we're going to let that mix for about 8 minutes. And I'll just knead it. Okay, so it's been mixing for about 3 minutes, and see it's still a little bit too loose. So I'm going to add just a quarter cup more flour, and that should be enough to do what we needed to do. We want it to be kind of loose, and the reason you want to be kind of loose is because as it's proofing, you want it to have a lot of air bubbles in it when you're making a nice country Italian. So we're just going to let that mix for about another 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll be done. Okay, so I kneaded it for about 10 minutes. This is the consistency. See how it's still very wet. See, it's still very wet, and so we're going to unscrew it, bring it over to another vessel that has flour in the bottom of it. What we're going to do is we're just going to scrape it out, and it's already kneaded enough, so we're just going to lay it in here to rest for about an hour and a half. And in an hour and a half, it's going to double the size, maybe even a little more than double the size. And get out as much as I can here. Okay. And put a little flour on top. Alright, so I'm going to take a towel and I'm going to cover it. Make sure it's covered well. And I'm just going to leave it in a semi-warm place. It's been snowing out, so it's a little cold. So I'm not going to keep it anywhere near any kind of draft. So I'm going to keep it over by the stove for about an hour and a half. And I'll see you then. Okay, so it's been about an hour and a half, and this is what our dough has risen out to for the first rise. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some flour, and we're going to put some flour out. And it's okay to put quite a bit out because it's going to soak it all up. And we'll put it on here, and we're just going to dump it onto here. Let's see if I can have you see that. See, it's pliable, but it's very loose, and you can see all the holes in it. So I rolled it out, and now I'm just going to do a little bit more, and I'm going to start kneading it. Now, to knead it, you take it at one end, you roll to the other, and you push it down. Take it, roll in, push it down. Take it, push it down. And I'm going to do this for about 5 minutes until the ball is nice and smooth, and once again it becomes a small bowl again. Okay, so I kneaded it for about 5 minutes, and now I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to re-roll it because I'm going to make 2 loaves of bread out of it. But if you look at it, you can see how airy it is inside. So I'm going to roll it, and I'm going to make 2 round balls. Okay, so I'm going to spray the pans with baking cooking spray. And I'm just going to spray them in the middle, from end to end. I don't have to do the whole thing, just basically in the middle, because since we're making 2 rolls, spread it pretty liberally. And put both nice, smooth, rolled out doughs on there. I like to leave a lot of flour on it because it gives it that rustic Italian crust on it. And now I'm just going to cover it in I'm going to take a regular towel, and I'm going to dampen it. I'm going to dampen the towel, and I'm going to cover them for about another hour, an hour 20 minutes. And it'll rise to about that big each. And then we'll come back. Okay, so it's been about an hour and a half. And you take the size of the dough, about doubled again. And we're going to take a razor blade, and we're going to make some nice cuts in it. And we'll make an X. That. And we'll come over to this one. Do the same thing. make like a tic-tac-toe board. Okay. Alrighty, and we're going to put it in the oven bake it for 35 minutes at 475 degrees. I've preheated the oven, so all I'm going to do is throw them in, and we'll see how they come out in 35 minutes. But one thing I need to add, and I don't know if you can see this, I'm just going to turn this on, is I got a pan down there that I've been heating up, and I'm going to put water in it. That water is going to keep the oven steamy because we don't have a convection oven. We do that, it makes the crust nice and hard. Okay, so it's been in the oven for 35 minutes at 475. Take them out. Voila! The bread is finished. Look very nice. Woo! Okay, so I took the bread out and it's been baking for 32 minutes at 475. And that's what she looks like. I'll cut one open in a minute after she cools. Alright, so I cut her open. Woo! And that's what she looks like. Very nice. Enjoy, bon appetit.